long before it had anything to do with golf. He was my hero before I knew there was a game of golf.
He won 18 tournaments out of 30, and he won 11 tournaments consecutively. What would it take today to win 11 tournaments in a row? It's one of the most astounding achievements in sports history. Byron Nelson was one of the greatest golfers of all time. But more importantly, he was one of the greatest men of all time.
He was generous. He was thoughtful. He considered other people. According to family lore, he just took care of me, and he apparently enjoyed taking care of me. He would let me hang around. He'd play catch with me, but see, none of that had anything to do with golf. Oh, I'd see him hitting the ball around, but that didn't mean anything to me when I was a little boy.
In this documentary, you're going to get to know the man behind the streak and beyond the golfer. You'll get to know him the way friends and family know him.
I played golf with him one time out at Preston Trails. And
my dad tells a story that
I remember him telling me I had probably the worst slice he had ever seen in his life.
you could always count on Byron to be honest and straightforward.
Must have been pretty bad.
Because he'd seen lots of
He's
slices.
seen lots of slices. If that was the worst, I remember some of the shots he hit. pretty phenomenal. But
Charles, did you ever beat Byron at golf?
Of course. I beat him on one hole one day.
And they just shared stories with me. And I've read everything there is to read on Byron. I've watched everything there is to watch on Byron. And listening to those stories, I realized the surface really hasn't been scratched as far as who Byron was. And now's my chance to share that. Byron's my third cousin. And since I can remember, I called him Uncle Byron. I think the world is short on role models. I want this documentary to inspire future generations. Byron encapsulates what it means to be a good man. I think it's difficult in this day and age to understand what that means. And I think Byron Nelson provides a blueprint to being a man. Byron in many ways dedicated his life to bettering himself on the golf course and off. You know, Byron's success wasn't necessarily likely. You know, it was kind of unlikely. He was given up for dead twice before he was 12 years old. Byron Nelson became the best golfer in the world so that he could quit.
Oh, you know how big brothers are sometimes. They tease their younger brothers or torment them. And he was never that way with me.
Poor is the child who has no brother to soothe his hurts, to dry his tears. Poor is the boy who, through the awkward years, has no brother to treat him with respect. Poor is the man who has no brother, whose life is a model of honor and integrity, which inspires him to reach and stretch and strain to become the best he can possibly become. I was not and am not poor.
I don't ever remember being mad at him, but once I was 3, and if he'd let me get to him, I'd have killed him.